What an incredible way to start the 2024 season. Lightning Hockey is back. Hi everyone, Sammy Flair here. Welcome to Season 2 of Bolt Action, the series where, with a brand new season, comes brand new hopes and brand new dreams and brand new expectations and brand new anxieties and brand new overreactions that are most definitely coming. What can you expect from a series like this? What can you expect in Season 2? Well, more of the same that you got in Season 1. But if you are a brand new viewer, you're coming across this video on YouTube randomly, and the algorithm has blessed you with my presence, then, hi. I am merely an avid Lightning fan who, perplexingly, allows the team to often dictate my mood, my physical health, my mental health, so many of the things that comes along with being a sports fan in general. Last season, I made a video every single week recapping the games that the Lightning had played during that week. And this season, it's gonna be pretty much the same thing. Mostly because I travel a ton for work, and as much as I would love to do an actual reaction video after every single game, it's usually not feasible for me to do that because of my work travel schedule. So tonight's video is a little bit of a one-off, partially because I forgot to record my season preview video. Yikes, still need to do that. It's gonna be late. But also, it's opening night. It's the first game of the season. It's exciting. It's worth talking about. Even if they had lost, it would still be worth talking about. Thankfully, they didn't, so I'm much more excited to talk about it than I would have been if they had lost. Before we get into the silly stuff and talk about hockey, let's take a quick moment to acknowledge and talk about the state of Florida right now. Over the course of 13 days, the state of Florida was struck by 2 hurricanes. Unfortunately, there has been a ton of devastation. There has been a ton of damage to property. And unfortunately, there has been loss of life and extensive injuries as well. People's livelihood, people's homes, so much that they hold dear has been shattered over the course of 13 days by these 2 hurricanes. While I am no longer a resident of the state of Florida, many of my friends, and in fact my entire family, they still are. So this hits very close to home for me. Thankfully, my whole family is okay, and every friend that I have talked to, they are in good health, but people are dealing with the aftermath. They're dealing with destruction to their property, be it their home, their vehicles, flooding, any number of things that are happening, or the fact that even if they themselves are okay, they know somebody who is not. They know somebody who has gone through property destruction. They know somebody who has sustained injuries. Like, the list goes on and on and on, but it helps us remember that we, as humanity, we truly are stronger together. It's one of those times to put aside political and ideological and social differences along the way and just be there for each other in whatever capacity you can. And so my urge to you is to do whatever it is that you can do to help out your fellow Floridians or your friends who are Floridians, no matter what that looks like. If all you can offer are thoughts and prayers, then God bless you. That's fantastic. People will gladly take those. But if you can help out by, I don't know, buying your friends a meal or something of that nature to help remind them that there's some good in this world while they're trying to recover from these natural disasters, you have no idea how big of a difference that might make. So all of my friends, family, and viewers that are still living in the state of Florida, I love you. I'm still going to clown on you for continuing to live in the state of Florida, but I love you. Please let me know if there's anything that I can do to help you. Now then, let's talk about hockey. The Tampa Bay Lightning opened the season with a 4-1 victory over the Carolina Hurricanes. Don't let the score fool you. Even though this was a very impressive showing for the Lightning, a 3-goal victory was actually more like a 1-goal victory. But don't worry, we're going to talk about that. Oh, and before I forget about this, I did this on stream tonight after the game was over, after the Lightning had won. For anybody that doesn't know me, I'm a pretty big Steve Dangle fan. He does LFR, he does the Steve Dangle podcast, so on and so forth. If you're a hockey fan, there's a decent chance that you know who Steve Dangle is. In fact, he's part of the inspiration for why I started doing these videos in the first place. But in my chat, there were a few people who were basically suggesting that I recreate the Steve Dangle Leafs win bit for the first Lightning victory of the season. And it went pretty well on stream, so let's do another one for the video. Lightning win! 4-1 over the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm actually surprised I can hit that register. I mentioned at the top of the video how a new season brings on new hopes and dreams and anxieties and so on and so forth. And I want to kind of touch on some of those as it pertains to this first game. So many storylines coming into the season, probably the biggest of which being Steven Stamkos' departure. He's now a Nashville Predator, RIP, and Jake Guentzel coming to town, supposedly in his stead. And so the first hope and dream and anxiety in question is, can Jake Guentzel be a reasonable replacement for Steven Stamkos? The obviously biased Steven Stamkos Homer fan in me, the same fan who has worn this jersey with his name on the back for the last 10 years, that person clearly says, no, of course not! Look, I've gotten my feelings out about Steven Stamkos through a variety of means, including streaming and making videos. We don't need to rehash that right now, but I do still wish he was here. And then there's the fan in me who actually watched his performance tonight, and that part of me goes, okay, and maybe give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt, at least for right now. I guarantee there are going to be some Lightning fans tonight and tomorrow and throughout the week who just look at the stat line and see that Jake Guentzel got 2 assists, and they are just going to be out there like, oh, we don't need Steven Stamkos at all. Look, Jake Guentzel got 2 assists, and we've already found his replacement. We made the best call. And what they probably don't realize is that those 2 Jake Guentzel assists came on 2 empty net goals in the last 2 minutes and 7 seconds of the game. Look, an assist is an assist. A point is a point. The stat sheet does not differentiate. It does not discriminate. If you scored, you scored. Just in the same way that it will show that Nikita Kucherov recorded a hat trick tonight, even though 2 of those goals were the empty net goals in the last 2 minutes and 7 seconds of the game. I obviously do not have any conclusions about Jake Guentzel as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning after one singular game, but I am going to give him benefit of the doubt. Let's keep an eye on it going forward. Another hope and dream of mine for this season, which in all actuality is more like an anxiety, is the state of the blue line for this team. While the trading of Mikhail Sergachev to Utah and the trading for Ryan McDonagh to come back to Tampa Bay were certainly big pieces of news in this offseason, the big things as far as I was concerned was the depth and the coaching. I honestly thought that if the Lightning were going to get rid of any defenseman, it would be Erik Chernak for the sake of shedding his contract and Nick Perbix because these Nick Perbix. We're 1 game in, I'm already crapping on this guy. I'm sorry, Nick. If you ever see this, I'm sorry. But instead, part of what they get in return for Mikhail Sergachev is 24-year-old JJ Moser, defenseman from the then Arizona Coyotes, the now Utah Hockey Club, who has shown some real promise and some real potential as being a blue line staple. We figured that JJ Moser was going to start on the right side of Victor Hedman up on the first pairing because who else would you pair a young defenseman with? And to his credit, he chewed up about 19 minutes on the ice. I think most of it with Victor Hedman on that first pairing. But also, the Lightning went with an 11-7. They played 7 defensemen tonight, so there was plenty of rotation for the others. But more than the depth, it was the coaching for me. The more I sat and I thought about it throughout the season and during this offseason, it came down to the coaching. Somehow, Jeff Blashill is still the defensive coach for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And if you don't know why that upsets me, here's a quick little rundown. In 2015, Jeff Blashill became the head coach of the Detroit Red Wings after Mike Babcock left. And in 2022, they decided to not extend him. At the time, Derek Lalonde was the defensive coach for the Tampa Bay Lightning, who won 2 cups with them, and Detroit and Tampa essentially did a swap without actually doing a swap. Now, Derek Lalonde is the head coach of the Detroit Red Wings, where he is having okay success, and Jeff Blashill is the defensive coach for the Tampa Bay Lightning, where he is having no success. I won't say no, I don't like speaking in absolutes like that, but I'm unimpressed. If there's one thing that Jeff Blashill teams are known for, it's crap defense. Let's be honest, it's crap defense. So putting him in charge of a blue line that is essentially half veterans who have won multiple cups and really don't need his direction, and half prospects, young players who desperately need some leadership, I'm not sure that he's the best fit there. And again, I'm willing to give benefit of the doubt. We are 1 game in. I promise I'm not going to overreact. However, some of the things that I was noticing last season were still creeping in tonight. A lot of the defensive irresponsibility in their own zone, a lot of odd man rushes headed the other direction, a lot of leaving Andrei Vasilevsky hanging out to dry. Yeah, don't like that. Thankfully, Vasi was up to the task as he looked like his old self, stopping 20 of 21. So even though defensive breakdowns were there, Vasi looked pretty good tonight. And I promise I'm not going to overreact in the opposite direction either, just so I'm not going to spell doom and gloom for the defensive side of the puck. I'm also not going to claim after one game that Andrei Vasilevskiy is going to win the Vezina this year, but it'd be really good to see him back in that form, especially because I do have him on my fantasy team. But defensively, the other thing that I noticed last season is that the Lightning would really only play 40 minutes out of a 60-minute game. There was always one period during pretty much every game last season where the Lightning were just kind of like, meh. And unfortunately, the same thing seemed to be happening tonight in the second period. And yes, I know the Lightning scored 2 minutes and 33 seconds into the second period. And I also know that after that goal from Brayden Point, the Carolina Hurricanes basically ran the show for the remaining 17 minutes and 27 seconds. I think I did that math right. I also know that based on the chances that they gave up to Carolina, the Hurricanes could have been going into the third period up 2-1 or 3-1. But thankfully, the defense held enough, and Andrei Vasilevskiy held enough, and they only gave up one goal. Conversely, the first period, even though the only goal scored in the first period was from the Carolina Hurricanes, the Lightning still looked in pretty good control of that period. In fact, the goal from the Hurricanes was the result of, frankly, a absent-minded decision, let's call it that, from Brandon Hagel in his defensive zone. The third period, Lightning only allow 4 shots on goal for that entire 20-minute stretch. They figured out how to lock down Carolina. That's great, but going forward, please, can we do this for 60 minutes and not just 40? The more things change, the more they stay the same. Speaking of which, the final hope, dream, anxiety, overreaction, whatever you want to call it that I had, concerned the power play coming into this season, and would it survive without Steven Stamkos on the left side? Short answer, apparently, yes. The Lightning went 2 for 6 on the power play tonight, the first one being what I think is going to be a regular power play combination in a goal for Brayden Point from Nikita Kucherov and Victor Hedman. The second being a goal from Nikita Kucherov from Victor Hedman and Nick Paul. I will be saying this all season long, mostly because I need to hear it for myself. But Jake Guentzel is not Steven Stamkos. And when you take Steven Stamkos out of that power play, is it still a good power play with Jake Guentzel in it? Absolutely it is. But when Steven Stamkos is in that power play, oh boy, the 4 defenders have to sit back and wonder, who do you essentially cheat on a little bit more? Do you try to cover Steven Stamkos and take away the slap shot? Well, if you do that, then you're probably going to open up for Brayden Point to come into the middle. And if you try to protect that, then odds are that Nikita Kucherov is open on the right side. And if you protect those 3, guess what? Victor Hedman still got a pretty good wrist shot up from the point. And oh, by the way, during some combination of the last few years, you have either Brandon Hagel, Nick Paul, Alex Killorn. You have somebody else down low that is just going to be an annoyance down there. Who do you cover? The choice for the opposing penalty kill, yes, it is still difficult, but it gets a little bit easier with the absence of Steven Stamkos. That's all I'm saying. Do I expect this power play to finish top 10? Absolutely. Top 5? Kind of hopeful. We'll see how it actually goes. Oh, and I already touched on Andrei Vasilevskiy, but it bears repeating that it is just oh so good to see him back in classic Vasi form. Oh, my heart. I know. It's one game. There are 81 more games to go. And the performance of this game is not necessarily going to be indicative of the remaining 81 games. Yes, I'm excited. Yes, I'm thrilled for the win. Thrilled to start on a high note. Thrilled for so many of the things that I saw. Also scared by a few things that I saw. But let's just take a moment and enjoy a 1-0 start. What do we say? Next video, I'll be honest, I have no idea when it's coming. I'm about to start a very long business trip for the next seemingly 2 weeks. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to knock out a video after the Canucks game or after the Vegas game or something like that. Maybe I'll try to sprinkle them in while I'm on the road if I actually have the time to do it. But maybe I'll also wait until I get back from this road trip. This is like 8 games deep that put us towards the end of October, which would be right after the Predators come to town. Yeah. I don't know. We're going to take it as it comes this season. There's no set schedule. I'm just going to do it when I can. But as far as tonight, that's it. That's all I've got. It is 3 a.m. I am wide awake and I shouldn't be. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for giving me just a little bit of your time. Once again, those of you in the state of Florida, my heart goes out to you. I am here to help however I can from several thousand miles away, even if it's just making you laugh, which I don't know. Maybe I did tonight. Kind of hope so. But until I see you again, remember, go Bolts and enjoy the little things like an opening night victory. It's so good.